From the N.C.A. Act, we got our regulations passed in 2014. After 2011, the Act, that is when the first board was inaugurated, and then we had the regulations passed in 2014. That is when we started hearing of N.C.A. now. Because actually, without the regulations, you cannot enforce the Act. So I believe from 2014, that is when you began to see N.C.A, you began to see the X, you began to see, oh, N.C.A walikuwa, N.C.A walikuwa. That is from 2014. So right now, we are now focusing on the building code and looking at the standards of constructing. And I think very soon, with the building code being anchored to our act, things are going to really be better. Now, in terms of the compliance, we look at registration of contractors, that is local and foreign. We also have project registration, we have accreditation, we have quality assurance, the people that you see coming to the site, and what I've already said, enforcement of the Building Act. That should be slide number 8. Next. That should be slide number 2, 3. Yes, we are the previous. Previous now? Yes, there. So, in registration of contractors, I'm sure some of us are contractors here. Any contractor here registered with us? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I think it's the in thing with devolution. It's the in thing. Maybe you could consider. But just to let you know that we register building contractors, we register electrical contractors, we register water contractors, we register mechanical, and we also have roads and civil. And these contractors are categorized from N.C.A 1 to 8. This information is important. You never know. So we have N.C.A 1, which is the highest, N.C.A 2, N.C.A 4, N.C.A 5, all the way to 8. 8 is the lowest. This one you can only do works up to 10 million. N.C.A 1 is above 500 million to infinity. You can get this information on our website. And we have registration. Now, this is now on foreign contractors. Just to mention, you can only register as N.C.A 1. And normally we get questions like, why are Chinese doing the work? But the thing is, we have really limited them. They can only be registered as N.C.A 1, and they can only be registered when they have already gotten a contract. So 30% of, and there is also the regulation of 30% of the value of each construction contract must be subcontracted to locals. I think that is something that I'm sure SGR has passed through some of our residences, so we need to pick that up, and you can even play the role of a supplier. I think I've mentioned all on foreign contractors. I'm getting to the meat of that is, I don't know if you need just a bit on the requirements. You need a company registration certificate. We have the CR12, valid tax compliance, business license, and statutory license for special works. I'll move on quickly. I had already mentioned that for N.C.A 1 it's unlimited, N.C.A 2 up to 500 million, and then N.C.A 8 is up to 10 million. I'll move on quickly for reasons. Now, this is now where you, the developers, how comes what I'm looking at is not, are you? Oh, okay. So now project registration as developers, which you need to share with the residents, and why we sometimes come to site and, you see we've put an X. Now, it is a requirement as per regulations to register your project. How many of us knew that? How many of us? You must, okay, thank you. Yes, so after approvals, obviously you approve your drawings. After going to the county, ukimalizana na county, you go to NEMA. After you finish with all those agencies, now you come to N.C.A for project registration. So it's like N.C.A is the stopgap measure. It's what asks the developer, have you gotten your drawings approved? have you gotten an MLS license? So before we give you the compliance, you must have gotten all this. Do you have a contractor who has the capacity? So these are the steps. You submit the application, you accept to abide by the code of conduct, you obtain a notifications approval, and then there is a GIS site inspection. We always come to do due diligence, and now we obtain the compliance certificate. This was my main role as a regional coordinator in the various regions that I served. And some of the requirements, so that you see where we come in, is you must have an N.C.A registered contractor. Yes, and within the portal, you always get a drop-down list. And then you have a duly registered consultant. That is what I spoke before, who accepts the project. Now, the problem is nowadays, developer, let me tell you, the most creative Kenyans, the most creative human beings, I think, in the world are Kenyans. I think, because anyway, M-Pesa started here. Because you find we have asked an architect to accept, before we give you the compliance certificate, you must have an architect to accept the project. The moment the architect has accepted the project, the developer goes underground with his phone. So imagine, I as architect Milgo, I have a project in Kericho, I have a project in Nyahururu, I have a project in Meru. You never know really what is going on. So the developer doesn't, you can't keep asking the developer, mumeanza kujenga, so I can supervise, That is where that is where now we are trying, we have pushed our portal for now so that we get status reports from these consultants. So that is just number 2. But really, the interest of this project not collapsing is whose? Who has the major interest in having this project to survive? It should be the developer. The money is really yours. Yeah. The money is yours, the benefits are yours. So the third one is approved drawings, which I already said, NEMA license. So we bring all this, we make sure, because we realized these developers are very crafty. So we push them to make sure they've complied with all these other agencies. Because our main role really in the act is to coordinate. So that's how we coordinate. We push you to the county, we push you to NEMA. So we also get you to have a contract agreement with the contractor. And then for government projects, you must have a government project declaration form. I'm sure you have noticed in the very recent years, government projects having a collapsing. But this is really a lot with devolution. Because you find counties are now doing projects, but professionals are not in the counties. If you were to ask which architect is practicing in Turkana County, most probably there would be none. Or which architect is in Wajir. But you find very big projects being rolled out by the counties now. That is why we've noticed a lot of, and there is something that AAK is doing, that is the Architectural Association of Kenya. I don't know why we can't move together. Yes, move to the next. So the rest of the functions really is more or less to do with us as N.C.A. But the aspect of project registration is what will change the twist of what has been happening. Because, before N.C.A., if you saw our last statement, anybody has seen the latest statement that was in the papers on the Mirema Drive collapse? Anybody saw in the papers? Oh, thank you very much. So what was in the papers? What did you see? What was the content? We were able to pick the parties, like who, please? Kindly.
I hope I'm not taking the floor on your behalf.
No. You're helping me. They're already tired.
I think what I saw, because I also happen to be in a group of professionals who are also in the profession.
Yes.
So we pick up this information quite fast.
Yeah.
But I think N.C.A. has also come up as a kind by engineer.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's something about the Mirema Drive collapse.
Yes.
But what has also come out from, apart from the letter,
Yes.
the letter has actually talked about if anybody is found culpable, legal action will be taken.
Yes.
But in our groups, maybe if I may just give a little hint, one of the biggest challenges we have, we have in that industry is that as a developer, and many developers often disregard professionals. They, N.C.A have a very good objective, but I believe you're going to tell us about all that. But there's a lot of disregard for professionals. Of course, that was not the content of the letter, but the content of the letter, it has talked about how the circumstances and if anybody is found culpable, the prosecution. But I believe N.C.A has, I'm going to believe N.C.A has the teeth to bite.
Thank you.
I rest my case.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the statement, but I appreciate at least there's somebody who saw. Before we started the project registration, a collapse would happen and everybody would be like, I don't know. Even the county, everybody would be like, yeah, I don't know. Even the owner says, I sold it yesterday. You know, I sold the building, it's no longer mine. And there is an agreement quickly, to show that it was sold to somebody. But now, with project registration,
Finish. I will not even proceed with the other slides. Allow me to just read our.
thank you.
I rest my case.
Yeah, I'm just